The 1967 United States quarter dollar, bearing the inscriptions United States of America, quarter dollar, Liberty, and the date 1967, is part of an important transitional period in American coinage history, falling within the years immediately following a significant shift away from the use of silver in circulating coins. Prior to 1965, quarters were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to rising silver prices and the cost of production exceeding the face value of the coins, the U.S. Mint made a major change starting in 1965, switching to a clad composition. The 1967 quarter is made of a cupronickel clad, which consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a silver-like appearance while being entirely devoid of actual silver content. This change was part of the Coinage Act of 1965 and was aimed at preserving the country's coin supply and reducing the hoarding of silver coins. The 1967 quarter does not have a mint mark, a notable distinction from earlier and later issues. This was deliberate. Between 1965 and 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from all coins to discourage the public from hoarding those struck at specific mints, as many believed certain mint-marked coins would be more valuable. All 1967 quarters were struck in Philadelphia and Denver, but without any distinguishing mint marks. The obverse front of the 1967 quarter features the familiar profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, facing left. This design was introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth and has remained a standard since then. The word liberty is inscribed above Washington's head, and the phrase, "In God we trust," appears to the left of his profile. The date, 1967, is found at the bottom of the coin beneath his neck. The reverse, back, of the coin showcases a heraldic eagle with wings spread, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons, a symbol of military strength, and beneath the eagle is an olive branch, representing peace. Above the eagle are the words United States of America, and just below that, the national motto, E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. At the bottom, the denomination is clearly stated as quarter dollar. This reverse design by John Flanagan remained in use until 1998, when it was replaced by the 50-state quarters program beginning in 1999. The 1967 quarter has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and a weight of 5.67 grams. Its edge is reeded, featuring 119 tiny grooves, a holdover from the days when precious metal coins were shaved for value. Though not a silver coin, its silvery appearance has caused some confusion among collectors or the general public unfamiliar with the coin's composition. As for mintage, the U.S. Mint produced a very high number of quarters in 1967, over 1.5 billion pieces, in an effort to alleviate the coin shortages of the mid-1960s. Specifically, the reported mintage figure is around 1,524,031,848 coins, making the 1967 quarter one of the most common coins of its type. Because of this mass production, the 1967 quarter holds little numismatic, collector, value in circulated condition and is typically worth only its face value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated examples, especially those in high mint state, MS grades, and particularly those with strong luster, few contact marks, or full strike details, can command slightly higher prices. Special mint sets, SMS, which were issued in lieu of proof sets from 1965 to 1967 due to changes in minting procedures, include specially struck 1967 quarters. These sets feature coins with a satin-like finish and sharper details than regular business strikes, though not as reflective as traditional proofs. While not rare, SMS coins are often sought after by collectors who appreciate transitional issues and special strike qualities. In the historical context of 1967, the United States was undergoing major social and political shifts. The Vietnam War was escalating, civil rights movements were in full force, and public trust in government institutions was being tested. The coin, while a small and utilitarian object, circulated widely during this turbulent period and thus carries subtle cultural significance. It also marks the third year of a temporary halt in proof coin production, a decision made by the mint due to the need to focus on general coinage demands. The coin's ubiquity and practicality made it an integral part of everyday American life in the late 1960s, appearing in pocket change, vending machines, and cash transactions across the country. Though common, the 1967 quarter is an important artifact of a turning point in American numismatics, the complete shift from silver coinage to base metals, the mint's experimentation with new striking techniques, and the adaptation to economic pressures of the era. Collectors today may view it as a cornerstone of modern U.S. coinage history, not valuable in rare metal content, but rich in narrative, a coin of transition, mass utility, and quiet endurance. Next top. Q1968 United States quarter dollar, bearing the inscriptions United States of America, quarter dollar, Liberty, and the date 1968, represents a significant period in American numismatic and socioeconomic history. This coin features the familiar profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, on its obverse front side. This design was originally created by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth and was adopted for general circulation the same year. By 1968, the Washington quarter had become a cornerstone of everyday commerce in America, both symbolically and functionally. The obverse of the coin bears the bold inscription Liberty above Washington's head, In God We Trust to the left, and the year 1968 directly beneath the bust. The mint mark, if present, appears to the right of Washington's ponytail, just above the date, identifying the mint that produced the coin, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint do not carry a mint mark for this year. The reverse side of the 1968 quarter continues to use Flanagan heraldic eagle design, a stylized, powerful eagle with outstretched wings, perched atop a bundle of arrows, symbolizing military readiness. Beneath the arrows is an olive branch, symbolizing peace. This duality of strength and peace was intended to reflect America's values during a time of significant domestic and global change. The top rim features the national title, United States of America, while directly below it is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, referencing the unity of the states. The denomination quarter dollar appears along the bottom. The 1968 quarter marked a continuation of the clad composition introduced in 1965, following the end of silver usage in circulating dimes and quarters. Prior to 1965, quarters contained 90% silver and 10% copper. Due to rising silver prices and the Coinage Act of 1965, the U.S. Mint shifted to a copper-nickel clad composition, featuring an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This resulted in a noticeable change in the coin's edge, which now displayed a visible copper-colored stripe when viewed from the side. The move to clad coinage was part of a broader economic strategy to preserve the nation's silver reserves and prevent hoarding of coins, a significant issue in the early 1960s. In 1968, the United States Mint produced quarters at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Of particular interest to collectors are the 1968 S-proof coins, struck with exceptional detail and mirror-like finishes, and intended for inclusion in special mint and proof sets rather than circulation. These proof coins were struck multiple times using specially prepared dies and planchets, ensuring a higher level of detail and clarity. Regular circulation strikes were produced at Philadelphia and Denver in much higher numbers and with less precision, though some high-grade examples still exist. The historical context of 1968 adds further depth to this coin story. It was a year of political turmoil, civil rights struggles, and social upheaval in the United States. The assassinations of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Senator Robert F. Kennedy shocked the nation. The Vietnam War raged on, sparking protests and growing public dissent. Amidst this climate, the quarter remained a symbol of everyday stability and commerce, used for vending machines, bus fares, parking meters, and daily transactions, bridging economic life with the evolving American identity. As such, it stands as both a functional currency and a tangible artifact of a turbulent era. From a numismatic standpoint, most circulated 1968 quarters have modest collectible value due to their large mintages. However, uncirculated coins in high grades, particularly MS 65 or better, as well as proof specimens and those with rare errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, can be more valuable. The absence of silver means the intrinsic metal value is minimal compared to pre-1965 issues, but collector interest remains high for pristine examples. Some collectors seek to complete full sets of Washington quarters by year and mint mark, making the 1968 issue an essential piece of the larger numismatic puzzle. In terms of weight and size, the 1968 quarter retains standard clad quarter specifications, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and a weight of 5.67 grams. It features a reeded edge, a series of small ridges that prevent clipping and provide a tactile identifier, especially for visually impaired users. Over 5 decades later, the 1968 quarter remains a reminder of a nation in transition, emblematic of the resilience of its people and the enduring legacy of its coinage. Whether found in an old coin jar, tucked into a collector's album, or preserved in a proof set, the 1968 quarter continues to offer insights into both the design history of American currency and the cultural milestones of a defining decade next top. The 1969 United States quarter dollar, bearing the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, quarter dollar, and the date 1969, is part of the iconic Washington Quarter series, a long-running and historically rich coin type that has held a consistent place in U.S. coinage since 1932. By the time the 1969 quarter was minted, the United States was undergoing significant cultural, political, and economic shifts. The coin, made of a clad composition introduced a few years earlier, reflects both a practical change in U.S. coinage materials and a continuing reverence for American history. On the obverse front of the coin, we see the enduring portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States, designed by John Flanagan. His right-facing profile is rendered in a neoclassical style, exuding dignity, leadership, and the foundational values of the Republic. Above Washington's head is the word liberty, a core American ideal that remains at the heart of national identity. Just below the neckline truncation is the date, 1969, marking the year of minting, a year etched into U.S. history during the Vietnam War era, the peak of the Civil Rights Movement, and the dramatic cultural upheaval of the 1960s. The motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed to the left of Washington's profile, reinforcing the nation's spiritual underpinnings and long-standing use of religious language on its currency. The reverse, back, features a powerful image of a heraldic eagle with wings outstretched, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing readiness for defense. Below the eagle lies a pair of olive branches, signifying peace, a visual metaphor for the dual commitment to strength and diplomacy. Above the eagle arches the name of the country, United States of America, and just below it, the national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, which speaks to the unity among the diverse states. The denomination quarter dollar is engraved at the bottom, clearly stating the coin's monetary value. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1969 Washington quarter holds particular interest due to its minting variations. It was produced at 3 different mints, Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Philadelphia and Denver minted circulation coins, while San Francisco struck both proof coins and special mint sets, SMS, in previous years, but by 1969, San Francisco was mainly producing proof coins for collectors. The 1969 quarter, like others made after 1965, was composed of a copper-nickel clad structure, an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This clad composition replaced the 90% silver alloy previously used, beginning in 1965, as a response to rising silver prices and hoarding. Consequently, 1969 quarters contain no silver and are not considered silver coins, though their historical and collectible value remains strong. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 114 million coins, while the Denver Mint produced nearly 129 million, making the Denver issue more common. The San Francisco Mint struck about 2.9 million proof coins, specially made with mirrored fields and frosted devices, intended for collectors and not meant for circulation. These proofs are typically housed in protective cases and exhibit superior detail and finish compared to regular strikes. Condition and rarity always play a role in determining value, so while most 1969 quarters are worth their face value in circulated condition, coins in uncirculated condition, MS65 or higher, or proof coins, PR65 and above, can carry a premium, especially if they show full luster, no contact marks, and sharp detail. Particularly scarce are those with striking errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, which can be of great interest to collectors. Historically, the 1969 quarter captures a moment of evolution in American coinage. By this time, Americans had largely adjusted to clad coins, and while some lamented the loss of silver, the new composition proved more economical and durable for daily use. The design remained largely untouched until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. Therefore, the 1969 quarter represents the core Washington design's maturity before a wave of numismatic innovation began 3 decades later. Additionally, 1969 as a year stands out in American culture and history. It marked the Apollo 11 moon landing, the Woodstock Music Festival, continued protests against the Vietnam War, and growing political awareness among younger generations. Though a small object, the 1969 quarter circulated through the hands of citizens living through this dynamic time and became a silent witness to the transformative events of an era. In sum, the 1969 United States quarter dollar is far more than a 25-cent piece. It reflects a critical juncture in U.S. history, both economically and culturally. Its composition tells the story of an evolving economy, its design pays tribute to foundational American ideals, and its survival today, over half a century later, invites both casual users and seasoned collectors to appreciate the deep history embedded in everyday currency. Whether found in pocket change or carefully preserved in a collection, the 1969 quarter remains a tangible link to the stories, struggles, and spirit of America at the end of a turbulent decade. The 1966 United States quarter dollar, bearing the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, quarter dollar, and the date 1966, represents not just a unit of currency, but a piece of American numismatic and historical heritage from a transformative era. This coin, featuring the well-recognized profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, is part of the Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. The obverse front of the 1966 quarter showcases Washington's left-facing bust, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Above his head is the word Liberty, a core American ideal, and just below his chin appears the national motto, In God We Trust. The date 1966 is inscribed beneath the portrait, marking a time when the U.S. was undergoing profound social, political, and economic changes, including the Vietnam War escalation, the Civil Rights Movement, and the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s. Importantly, the 1966 quarter was struck during a unique transitional period in U.S. coinage history. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the United States Mint had ceased the production of quarters containing 90% silver due to the rising cost of silver and a national coin shortage. As a result, the 1966 quarter was minted using a clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This shift gave the coin a distinctive silver-like appearance, but without intrinsic precious metal value. The total weight of the coin is 5.67 grams, and it has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters with a reeded edge. No mint mark appears on this coin, as mint marks were temporarily omitted between 1965 and 1967 to discourage collectors from removing coins from circulation during the shortage. The reverse back design, also by Flanagan, depicts a majestic bald eagle, the national bird and a symbol of freedom and strength. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing preparedness for war, while surrounded by two olive branches, which represent a preference for peace. Above the eagle, the words United States of America arc along the top, and below them, the national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, appears, highlighting the unity among states and people. At the bottom is the denomination quarter dollar, clearly indicating its face value of 25 cents. Though not rare in circulation, the 1966 quarter holds significant historical value. It belongs to the first full year of production for the new clad coinage and is one of the earliest examples of modern U.S. quarters. Millions were minted, over 821 million, primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, though again no mint mark appears. As a result, circulated examples are common and typically hold only face value unless in exceptional uncirculated or proof-like condition. No official proof coins were struck in 1966, but some special mint sets, SMS, were issued by the Mint for collectors. These SMS quarters often display superior strike quality and a satin or semi-proof finish, making them more desirable to numismatists. Numismatically, the 1966 quarter serves as a marker of the U.S. Mint's adaptation to economic realities and technological changes. Collectors value these coins more for their historical context and transitional characteristics than for rarity or silver content. Over the decades, the Washington quarter has undergone numerous design changes, particularly the 1999 to 2008 State Quarters program and the later America the Beautiful series, but the 1966 issue remains emblematic of the traditional Washington portrait used for over 60 years. In conclusion, the 1966 Washington quarter dollar is a tangible link to a pivotal moment in American history. It reflects a nation in flux, abandoning silver coinage, confronting social upheaval, and forging ahead with innovation and resilience. While modest in appearance and often overlooked in daily transactions, this coin captures a story of adaptation, symbolism, and national identity, offering a lasting legacy that bridges the traditions of the past with the pragmatic needs of the present next top.